Really? Come on, stop. So, this is your host, Steve from the back. Sorry. Get out of there. I'm like basically kind of like, you know, knocking the ice off of myself right now because I just pretty much woke up, and the reason why someone will say, well, why the hell are you just waking up and you're talking into a mic? You know, you're still in the mode of being like a zombie, you know. Well, the reason why is because I've wanted to do this for a long time, but I just feel like either I would put it off because I had more important things, or time just didn't seem to really line up right, or I just simply forgot the information. Now, the thing is, I decided at one point that I was going to do episodes that I would talk about my dreams, because I'm a lucid dreamer, you guys, and I've been a lucid dreamer for years, since I was a child. And the way that I discovered that I was a lucid dreamer was because as a child I used to perform experiments, but I used to perform them in the state of my dreams, which led me to realize that I knew that I was dreaming, and I was able to differentiate at a point when I had begun entering into a dream and when I was awake, even to the point to where sometimes where if I intentionally chose to listen to outward sound, like let's say the sound of someone cooking, the sound of someone talking, possibly a TV on, something like that, I could do it to the point to where I could literally force myself to wake up, because now I'm aware of the stimulus that is going on outside of me as I'm sleeping. It became kind of like a valuable, to me personally, just like someone could say a useless skill, but I don't think so, because sometimes I could literally have the awareness enough of time to, without an alarm clock often, know that a certain time is generally about to approach and wake myself up and things like that. So with all that being said, I'm a basic lucid dreamer, you know. So I said, you know what I should do? I should just document some of these dreams I have that are more entertaining, you know, that are just more abstract and wild and ridiculous, you know, like they just are straight up ridiculous. Now, when I say ridiculous, I mean like a lot of times these dreams are coming from a place of like, they're coming from so many places that instead of having racing thoughts, you're having dreams that are shifting into different stages very rapidly, and it's just wild, and it's the good thing about this, in this instance in particular, is that I'm not going to speak. It wasn't a nightmare of any sorts, you know what I mean? Because one thing I've realized over enough time is that when you have a nightmare, what that usually is it's usually the fact that you have a pressing issue, and that pressing issue is either so traumatic to you or so angering, and it's such an imperative issue that needs to be addressed, that you will then manifest that in having a nightmare, right? Or a heated argument in your dream with someone or something that would probably lead to a physical altercation or something, you know, something like that. So you guys get that. So, well, getting all that out of the way, right? What I'm just going to go into the dream. So, when I'm in this dream, I realized that, and I'll be honest, and this is the type of dream to where I don't know where it started or began, because I didn't catch the transition. Now that's a whole other thing for another rant. Sometimes I catch the transition that I'm either going into a dream state, or that I could possibly be having an outer body experience of some sort, and I can catch when that process is going down place by place and be ready for it and know like some things to expect. But this, I didn't know it was a dream until I just realized things were off. You know what I mean? Things that didn't make sense. Like most lucid dreams start, you realize things that don't make sense, so you're like, aha. You're like, okay, I'm in a dream. Okay, I know it's now I can now I can pretty much just run wild because I know there doesn't seem to be much consequences to this. I'm not saying there's not, but I feel like there's not much consequence because I feel like, you know, it's just a dream. So I realized that I am, for some reason, in my old house that I grew up in, which that alone kind of set off red flags. And I'm in my mom's, or what used to be my mom's and stepfather's old room, right? And for some reason, there are multiple televisions in that room, which is not normally what they're supposed to be in there. There's supposed to be one TV, or at least maybe two, if that. I think they only had one. But anyway, my younger brother is in there, and well, one of my the younger brother that I grew up with, you know what I mean? Because I do have two brothers, but the younger brother that I grew up with, you know, that's not a half brother technically, you know, that brother is in the room, and then like, you know, for some reason I get the impression, like, I'm not like looking at myself in the mirror or anything or whatever, but I'm getting the impression that we're younger than I am now. I'm getting the impression that we're probably still like teenagers or something, and for some reason, which doesn't make any real sense in reality, because Mugen is a game on a computer. Mugen does not come on a disc. You know what I mean? Like, Mugen does not come on a shiny, spinny disc, right? But for whatever reason, I have these discs in my hand, and I have this old see-through disc container. You know, the old holders and containers that discs used to come in, these sort of like flat, see-through square things that have a little indentation, or not indentation, but they have a convex surface that the disc's hole fits in, and then you close it, you know, that old setup, like, and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna play Mugen on this system. I don't even know what the heck this system was. Like, for some reason there was this black mass that I could only describe as being a form of a system, because you think of something that's dark colored and then you think it has little lights on it or something, so you know it's a system. And you see how this is all very like abstract and weird and like blurry, and like you can't, like, it's like, you know what you're seeing, you know it's a dream, but you know really it's just an amalgamation of all your thoughts and memories and stuff smushed together to create something that seems like a reality or whatever, right? You know. So I'm trying to play this Mugen, and for whatever reason, when I try to play it, something keeps like impeding me from playing it, and it doesn't seem to be working. And by that point, altogether, I kind of forgot about the presence of my brother being there, and he seemed to like disappear. Not that I saw him disappear, but he wasn't there anymore, and I figured he either left the room or whatever, or went to a store or something, because where I used to live in that old place, there used to be side stores very, very close to there, so people, you know, would often say, I'm going up the hill to go to the side store or whatever, you know, to buy things like ices, you know, Funyuns, things like that nature, hot fries, you know, if you guys have been to the side store, the little juice that looks like a grenade, you know, that type of thing, like, you know, this type of thing that you at that age would be going to the store to buy. So I'm just thinking maybe he went to the store or something, he wasn't there. So, you know, all of a sudden, all the TVs in the room that were off turn on, and I'm like, okay. It automatically struck me as like a poltergeist looking type of situation, because I'm like, all the TVs turn on, none of them are actually plugged in, I noticed, but for some reason they're all on now. And all I could see through any of these TVs was just like, it was like watching someone's racing thoughts. Like, it was literally like, it would go from one image sequence to another image sequence, and all these sequences were very looking like mundane things. Like, it was like a guy sitting out in a field or something, and then it's like two people talking, and then it's like someone brushing a dog's hair, and then it's like, you know, someone opening a wrapper or something, and then it's just, you know, and it just kept cycling these little small images of like very, very mundane things. And at that point, I literally just got bored with it and got annoyed, and I was thinking like, okay, let me go try to tell someone that this room is full of TVs and they're all on and they're not plugged in, you know. So, and there was somewhat of a fascination to there, because I'm thinking like, well, why are they all on if they're unplugged, you know? So to me, the room, in my opinion, kind of took on a life of its own. Like, I really felt like these TVs had thought and stuff, and I'll go more into that. So before I left the room to go get someone or try to tell someone, not knowing who it would be, just knowing I could try to find someone to talk about this thing, I realized that the TVs in fact had their own personalities to them. Like, they had their own literal life. Like, you couldn't hear words come out of them, but you could, you know, in this type of dream state, you psychically sense things, or you could communicate with something without speaking. You just kind of just know. So I'm basically getting from these televisions that they have I'll just be honest, they have a dark nature to them. Like, for some reason, there's something sinister about them. There's something otherworldly or inhuman about them, that they seem to like just have their own sentience or whatever, but they really don't seem to really be too friendly or care too much for anything that any people are doing or whatever. And it didn't scare me, because it wasn't threatening, because it wasn't seem like it was channeled towards anyone in particular. It just seemed like that's what their nature was, and for some reason I could pick up off of that's what their nature was. So I just left the room and I start to look for people, and I instantly walk into what used to be my old bedroom. And here's where it just gets really just off the rails for me, and just like, I just kind of went down a dark pathway my own self, because I went to my old bedroom. It wasn't even normal. It wasn't my old bedroom. It was a church. It was like a sort of gospel style Pentecostal church gathering, and a bunch of weird strangers that I don't know, but they were all black people, you know, like male, female, bunch of strange church people. They had the classic church clothes on, and it looked like they were having some type of sermon of some sort, and I couldn't even make out who was supposed to be like the pastor or anything, because all these people had on similar clothes, and it was just I was thinking like, how can this many people fit in a room? Number one, they like, how did they convert my room into a church or a church service? And I was like, whatever, just, you know, it's just a dream, just roll with it. And I'll be honest, you guys, I started plotting on these people instantly, because I just didn't like them. I just didn't like their vibe. I didn't like anything really about them. And I was gonna, in my mind, I had already made the decision to plot on them, because I was thinking like, you know what, I'm just gonna lure them into this room, and when they try to solve this problem, and I'm gonna be honest, you guys, I have a habit of trying to do things like this in dreams. I was like, I'm gonna lure them into this room, and when they try to remedy the situation of these like poltergeist like TVs and all this, I'm gonna set them up and just let them get like devoured or whatever. Like, I'm gonna make it a slaughter, but I'm not gonna tell them that that's really what my intention is. But I'm going to get them in there, and then I'm going to close the doors. I'm gonna leave. You know what I mean? But the thing was, when I started talking to these people to try to get information, one thing stuck out to me as extremely particular that was really, really weird, was that there was this one lady, and it was this black woman wearing like a sort of Sunday Easter style Easter hat. You know, I can't remember what color her outfit was. I can't remember if it was like purple, black, or it was some type of, it was just, I remember it was a darker color. And in my opinion, for some reason, there was something really attractive about this woman. Now, she was like, had a nice shape. In my opinion, she was on like the thin side, but even though she was on the thinner side, she had like hips, you know, she had a butt, she had this she just had a good shape to her, and had a pretty face in general. And she was black, and she had like, she wasn't like super dark, but the thing was, parts of her body, like some parts of her hands and stuff, were like really extra dark. And I'm thinking, like, it just didn't look normal. It looked like she had either like some type of disease or had like super hyperpigmentation. But she also had these weird like warts, almost, I guess you'd call them. And she didn't have a lot of them. She just had a couple here and there, like on her hands and stuff, like maybe on her hands, on some parts of her arm. And it was a little off-putting. Like, to me, I'll admit, it was a little off-putting. But the thing was, you know, church people try to pray for people and stuff, or church people shake people's hands and stuff. So the thing was, I noticed, for whatever reason, people were shaking people's hands, and I shook her hand. And the thing was, she held my hand like extra long. And in my opinion, because I'll admit, like, she was attractive, I didn't mind that type of interaction. But for some reason, subconsciously, I knew that I was in a church. So I was thinking, like, okay, the church people are going to get mad at this type of behavior. The church people are not going to want this natural interaction because it's a church. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be happy about me taking this any further. And I'll admit, if it wasn't in that setting, I would have got distracted from my whole, like, mission, if you will, to destroy these people. And I would have probably tried to press it further with her just based off of her looks, even disregarding the weird pigmentation on some parts of the hands and the bump things, you know. And I probably would have just tried to, you know, let's say I would have tried to take it further. But the thing was, I saw the disdain on one of these, like, pastor people's faces. Like, I saw his face looked really pissed off that she even held my hand that long, and that I also held her hand that long. And she didn't really say anything. It's like we just kind of like looked at each other. And I let go of her hand. And then I started to proceed to tell them about what was going on inside of this this room in the house. And they all looked like, I wouldn't say excited, but they looked like they were seriously concerned. That's what they were, very concerned, like you obviously know they would be. And they went on this, like, they got all riled up, and they went on this, like, we are going to, you know, to do some type of exorcism, or we're going to, you know, pray this out, or we're going to cast this out, or, you know, if any of you guys grew up in a Christian church, especially a black Pentecostal Christian church, you know people are big on trying to either cast out demons, or if something is like, quote, haunted, quote, they are going to literally get together and they are going to come at it head on. That's one thing these people do. You know, they will try to come at it head on in a group, and they will try to literally cast it out of the place, person, or whatever. That's what they do. You know what I mean? So I knew that's exactly what they were going to do, so I was trying to set them up. I was like, I told them what was going on. I'm like, hey, these TVs are on. They're on without, you know, any any plugs in the wall. There's some type of stuff going on there. It seems like it's demonic. You know, I don't know what to do. You know, obviously playing the victim. not really giving a crap playing the victim. Just because I was basically experimenting with them, like seeing what's going to happen to them. And I basically got them riled up enough to go right in that room. So I noticed as we are all approaching towards the room again, I noticed that I look at my hand, and I now have hyper, like, I mean, my hands were black. Like, I mean, I don't know, I guess she passed, whatever it was when she touched my hand, she passed something to me that was, like, made your hands, like, really black. And in my mind, I kind of laughed at it because I was thinking, like, well, I don't feel any different, but my hands are just, like, almost charcoal black now, like except for my nails, everything else was just like super black. And I'm thinking, like, well, I think I said something to someone to the effect of Well, you could have given me red skin and horns if you were going to pass some weird thing, kind of like a joke like that, They didn't seem to find it really funny. They seemed to not really react too much to it at all. So, I just kept going. At that point, I wasn't even worried about the hand thing. I'm thinking, well, it's a dream anyway. I don't care what this is. I'm not really paying too much attention to this black hand thing. So they get to the room, right? They pile into the room, and what I do is I slowly move back towards the crowd, and I just close the door, And in my mind, I'm thinking that by me signifying closing the door, that door, I didn't see any lock on it, but I felt like it couldn't be opened after I closed it. So I pretty much locked him in there. I just locked him in there, and at that moment, I left and I walked through the hallway. Well, not hallway, but it would be the what we used to call the family room. And to the left, I believe, is the living room. And then as you enter the kitchen, on the left would be what my old bedroom was. On the right would be the bathroom. Then you got the back door leading down the stairs, which would be on your left again, past my bedroom, and then you have the kitchen table, which is to the right of that, and then in front of all of that, which is to the furthest of the room, you have the pantry. Then you have a closet, I believe, to the right further of that, behind the table, if I'm not mistaken. Then you have, I think it was the sun porch, which is straight ahead, which isn't technically an exit, but no one's getting off the sun porch in reality, in real life, because you're gonna fall. It's on the 3rd floor, so you're not, unless you find a rope or something, unless you literally could, climb down, from the sun porch, I don't think you'd want to do that, but you get my point, right? So it's not an exit, but it is the sun porch, so you can see out, you can see out the street, you can see the next door neighbors, you can see the yard right in front of you, you can see downward, so on and so forth. People used to yell from the backyard when we were kids. They'd yell up from the backyard to the sun porch, and you would open the screen. It was that type of setup. So as soon as I get onto that sun porch, I see my stepfather, who used to be my stepfather, there, and he's smoking, as he often would do, and I'll be honest, being an adult now, looking at that, it was a really nice setup. It was really nice to have that type of setup. And he's smoking as normal, and normally I would have said, hello, would have greeted him, would have said something, but he didn't seem to pay me any mind. It almost seemed like he was in a completely different world of his own in this dream. He didn't even acknowledge me when I went out. He did not. It's like he didn't see me. It's like I was invisible. He just did not see me. So I just went right past him, and knowing it was a dream, knowing there was no possibility of harm, at least at that point, I basically just jumped off of the sun porch. Now, this is really strange, but this is what happened, right? Everything was strange about this. None of this makes any sense, but so as I'm jumping off of this sun porch to land towards the ground, towards the backyard, it starts to suspend itself. Normally, if you jump, you just land. Gravity works, obviously. You land. But gravity did not seem to work. When I jumped off, it seemed like I was flying. So I figured I was just flying. I was like, I'm maybe not ever going to touch this ground. I'm probably just going to float off just who knows where. So what had happened was that I had basically rotated to the point to where I thought I was flipping forward, but that rotation took so long that suddenly, when I basically almost finished the rotation, which would actually be bad, because I'm thinking, in reality, you'd be on the verge of probably breaking your neck, because you're probably going to land on your neck, because the rotation took that long. So it's now you're about to land on your neck instead of landing on your feet, because normally you would have already flipped to your feet, but because the rotation's taking so long, you're still at the stage of like where your neck is. So this is retarded, but basically when the dream sped up again and I was at a different part of the, what would be a rotation but at a different part, I had to frantically flap my arms to make my body flip around completely, and then I landed, you know what I mean? And at that point fear had set in, because at that point the fear superseded my knowledge that I actually was in a dream, a lucid dream. Now I'm knowing that I'm actually, in a dream again, but the fear set in, so I was frantically thinking like I could still be harmed, because there is a point of to where you do things in your dreams that even when you know it's a dream, I know other lucid dreamers know this, fear comes back in because it's so alien that it almost supersedes like your logic, and it goes to straight up instinct. Like your instinct when you're awake, like like for instance that a car is going to hit you and you can be hurt. That like a needle, things like fire, things like that have a staple in your brain so strongly that it could carry over until when you're dreaming, and you still can't overcome that. Like you still can't say, okay, I'm just going to not care. It still is going to either make you wake up or still, that whole thing. So fear set in, I started frantically flopping to try to get my rotation back to where my feet are now touching the ground. And I barely accomplished that. It was pitiful. I barely did it. I think I fell forward and had to land on all fours. I think I had to literally put my hands on the ground, and my head just nearly almost smacked into the ground. You know what I mean? But at that point, what I noticed that there was a dog, and I don't recognize this dog, you guys, from anywhere in a point in my life or any pet or anything. It was just some random dog. You know what I mean? This sort of golden retriever, sort of German Shepherd-esque dog, for whatever reason, there was this big black wall, and I think it looked like partially was made of rubber. Now I know it sounds weird, but that's what was there. It was partially made of rubber, and this dog kept trying to run up the wall and then flip off of the wall. But what kept annoying me was the dog wouldn't catch itself. So inherently, I didn't want the dog to just fall on its back, fall on its head, whatever, and not catch itself. So I kept attempting to catch it, but often the dog, I couldn't catch it, and the dog would end up hitting the ground and then rolling. And I would think maybe it was hurt or something, because a dog, it's not easy for a dog to roll sideways the right way, you know what I mean, because of the way its legs and stuff are made, and the dog isn't that smart to know to try to roll the right way from a fall. So I was just kind of concerned for this dog, because I'm thinking what the heck is wrong with this dog? Why does it keep doing this? Seems like it's gonna hurt itself if it keeps doing it. So the dog kept doing what it was doing, and for some reason I started doing it, and then the thing was, the dog would do it, I would do it, but at some point I got annoyed with it, and I also still was kind of concerned for the dog. So at that point I tried to tell the dog to basically to stop doing the thing, and then I just basically started petting the dog. Now the thing was, at the point of me petting this dog, I realized that the dream scenario or surroundings started to morph and change. So I realized that this is going somewhere else, and I don't really understand. But it's a lucid dream. It's just weird. And now I'd find myself in what seemed to be I'll just say what it looked like to me. It looked like a cross between a shopping mall and a college, and I don't like either one of those things, you guys. Those two, I really don't like either one of those things, man. I don't have a lot of good memories of anything in a mall or at a college. When I went to college, I hated it. That's why I left college. I hated it, and I hated it when I actually went to, because the thing was, the points and times where I tried college, number one, I hated my job. Obviously, I was a lot younger. I didn't have money. Obviously, I didn't have proper transportation. I had to take 2 buses just to get to the college campus. I didn't make any friends anytime where I tried college, because most people there were just not, let's just be honest, they're focused on what they're doing. They're not friendly. You go into a college setting, people they're not, you know what I'm saying, they're just not, I guess, the right crowd. They're not, naturally, they're not going to, they're not even going to say anything to each other unless, it's just kind of weird. It's like you think someone thinks, okay, it's a bunch of young adults in a classroom. You think they're going to say something, right? No, they don't. No, they don't. And the funny thing is this: what I realized too is, like, people in colleges, and girls in colleges, the problem really is this. And for some reason, I didn't really get this when I was younger, to be honest. But this is the real truth. The truth is, you have to approach them. It sounds weird, but that's really how that works. Like, the thing is, it's not necessarily that they are not necessarily maybe friendly or whatever, or wouldn't like you. The point is, they are not fitted mentally to approach you. They expect you to approach them. Now I'm laughing because now, as an adult, like, much older, you think of how ridiculous that actually sounds, right? But let's be honest, you guys. Women are still the same way now. You have to approach them. They don't talk to you. It's like they will not talk to you. Some of them, they will even look at you. They will observe you. They will even be intrigued by you. But they will not say anything until you walk up to them and you approach them. Okay. After learning this, I know I'm going off the subject, but I'm just saying in general. After learning this, now in life, I approach women myself. I approach them. Because I know that, it's like a secret. It's like you wonder why they don't say they expect you to approach. I'm just putting that in there. So, I'm in this college, not college I actually was going to periodically in reality, but I'm saying, like, in the dream. So I'm in this college, and I notice in this college that, like, it is chaotic, man. That's the first thing I noticed. And it actually looked like more of a shopping mall at some points. Okay, I'll put it like this. It had bars in it. That's what I don't understand. There were mixtures of bars, and it was like a bars / college / shopping mall, which just is retarded. Total chaos. That's the first thing I have to know. I'll say, like, I've seen people doing TikTok dances in the hall. I seen, like, security guards seemingly not paying attention to anything. I seen, like, people drunk at bars. I seen people in these, like, weird little rooms watching film. I seen people, like, sleeping on floors, and I'm thinking, like, this makes no sense. Like, this is just all just chaotic. It doesn't make any sense. So what I just start doing is I basically start either floating around from section to section because there's floors. And one thing I noticed, which kind of annoyed me, was that if you were to move from point A to point B, like from a floor to a floor, it wouldn't naturally progress like how time-space actually moves. It's more like it would morph into things. So it's very confusing and incredibly chaotic. Which means, like, you could be talking to someone 1 second, and then to the next second, that person could have either just simply disappeared or could have morphed into another person. And it just was just retarded all at that point. Like, literally, like I said, people sleeping on the floor. People drunk at the bar. People being lectured in classrooms by watching films with the lights off, but some people are sleeping. Security guards not observing anything, just looking like zombies, either just standing there or asleep themselves. People doing TikTok dances in the halls. People getting drunk at the bar. People in cliques and crowds just chattering on in halls and in spaces, just seeming like aimlessly. So I'm like, this is a heavy dream. Like, this is heavily a dream. This is totally out there. This is totally... It just had a sense of just complete chaos, And at that point, like I said, I was floating up and down. I was crawling on the walls. I was running along the floor, because I've talked about this a lot of times, that like often in dreams, I don't, like, I'll walk sometimes, but to me walking is more of like walking is more of a, what's the word, is two things. Walking to me is more of, you are inquisitive, so you are walking because it's slower. You are walking because now you have two hands free. You are walking because you don't want to bump into thing or person or object or whatever. Or you are walking because it is so crowded that you can no longer crawl. You know what I mean? And that's abnormal, but that's just the way I am in a lucid dream, because that's the way I prefer to move. You know what I mean? I'd rather float, move along the wall, or crawl. And the reason why that is because if you're crawling, you're so low that most people aren't going to see you first. You know what I mean? If you're moving along the wall, most people aren't going to see you, period, or first, because walls can be very high. You could be on a wall that's a mall. You know, shopping malls have ceilings. You could be that high up in the air, crawling and looking down at people, and they still haven't seen you yet. You know what I mean? That's the reason why. And it allows freedom of movement. Like, this is not movement you can do in reality, obviously. You cannot you cannot spend an hour, hours crawling or sprinting or floating or moving along walls instead of moving along the ground. For obvious reasons. For obvious reasons. You know, unless you're outside of your body, you are not. This is not things that you can be doing. You know what I mean? This is not a human possibility. You know, but when you're in a lucid dream, these are things that you would easily just do. You know what I mean? And flying and floating is one of those common things where, even opposed to walking, sometimes you feel like it's less energy for you to walk, so you just glide. You don't. Basically, you don't have to do anything except but think. You know what I mean? You just basically. It's like you inherently just float sometimes. You inherently just glide across to things. So, with all that being said, though, often when I saw the people's reaction to me crawling around, it kind of intimidated or scared them to some degree, so I would stand up and just walk towards them, you know what I mean? No one in the dream seemed to really want to approach me, and I feel like the reason why they didn't want to approach me is because of the previous stage of the dream. There were still remnants of that sinister vibe from that TV room. That's what it was. It was because of that room. It was because of that weird TV occurrence. So there was still the notion of like, okay, there's an unknown evil or whatever in the room. Now it has attached itself to me in some way or form or fashion. The lady shook my hand, so in some way, form, or fashion, now I feel like they're connecting that to, and I don't know how they would know about it, but you get what I'm saying. It feels like it's all connected, so they knew somehow. So they pretty much stayed away from me, and to me, it was kind of, it wasn't angering, but it was just annoying, because it's like thinking like, okay, well, if I'm trying to approach someone to ask them a question, they automatically seem to either walk away, turn around, so on and so forth, that whole thing, you know what I mean? So, the one thing that stood out to me for some weird reason was that when I approached one of these bar settings, I only stopped because I saw that there were so many types of drinks there, and I did have a small sense of smell, that I could smell that these drinks smelled good, you know what I mean? So, and I distinctly remember a yellow color. So I remember, like, it looks like yellow. It could be lemon. I don't know what. It could be lemon, I'd imagine. You know what I mean? And I wanted to try the drink. So basically, I seen a girl at the bar. She looked like she's supposed to be some type of bartender. Now, automatically, you guys, she was Asian, and she was a very attractive Asian girl. You know what I mean? She was shapely. She had a relatively small waist. She had a pretty face, long hair. She had very, very big hips, a big, you know, I don't want to curse, but, you know, she had big glutes. She had a big butt, you know what I mean? She wasn't, like, very tall. She was, like, sort of average to shorter height, you know what I mean? And she's very attractive, so I was, wanting more. I'll put it like this: I was wanting more than just getting a drink, obviously, at that point. And because it was a lucid dream, I knew how easy it was to convince her to do a lot of things. Like, I knew how easy that would be. So basically, I said, you know what, man? And look, you guys, if you guys have lucid dreams, you know how quickly you formulate plans, right? So I was like, I'm about to take this chick into one of these bathrooms, and I'm about to bang this chick. I was like, I'm about to go into one of these bathrooms, and I'm about to just basically just ravage this girl's cheeks, man. I was like, I already know how this works. Like, I've done so many lucid dreams to where I've gotten things that in real life would take way much work for me to get. That it's not even funny, you guys. I'll just put it like that. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. I'll just be honest with you. Like, I've had so much more sex in dreams than I've had in reality. It's not even funny. Like, girls that, like, I wouldn't think would give me the time, because it's a dream, you know what I mean? It's a lucid dream. Like, you find ways to create things in lucid dreams. And when I say create, I mean, like, literally, you can materialize things by just, like, thinking. Like, if you think, okay, I want to get into a car or something, or get into a bus or something, sometimes you can literally manifest that bus or thing, and you literally just walk into it. It sounds weird, but that's really what this is. So I look in, and I'm already going to tell you guys, this dream did go south. It wasn't a nightmare, but it went south. It ended in a good way, but at points it went south. Okay, and I'm going to get into this. So this hot Asian chick, and I think she had on, like, all black, and the all black was kind of like a almost like a uniform you think someone would wear working at a restaurant or something. You know how these waitresses have certain uniforms or whatever. And so I'm thinking, like, it's almost like I didn't have to even really talk to her orally. It's like she just we mentally just exchanged, like, thoughts almost. And I was basically telling her, like, hey, look, we're gonna go in that bathroom, and if anyone is in that bathroom, we're gonna tell them that we have to clean the bathroom because it's like housekeeping. And if they ask why is me as a male here going in with you as a female to clean a female bathroom, or vice versa, if it's male, they're gonna say, why are you here? It's a bathroom. We'll tell them it's just this new thing, and that you have to leave the bathroom, and we're cleaning it, right? So we go into this bathroom, right? I'm gonna tell you guys, this shit went south. I didn't want to curse, but let's say this thing went south so fast, you guys. Like, when I say it went south, like, so fast. I can't even. This is crazy. So we go in the bathroom, right? And someone's gonna say, you're racist. No, it's not racist, because if she was, I'll explain it. So we go in the bathroom, right? And, like, automatically in the bathroom, someone was in there. Now, for some reason, it's foggy to me if this person was a male or a female. I kind of leaning towards that it was a male, and that he was in a shower, and basically he didn't put up much of a fight to leave. He kind of was just like, oh, okay, you guys are here to clean. Alright, cool, let me just grab some of this stuff, and I'm just going to leave, right? And he left. So I noticed as we are getting into the shower, and the weirdest thing was, I noticed that when she get in the shower, she takes off her clothes, but I noticed instantly that, and this is not a bad thing, because either way, she still would have been just as hot, but the thing was, it just would have been like, a different change, and I still would have rolled with it at this point, at least. So as she gets into the shower, I noticed her complexion got darker, and at this point, it was just at a very, very brownish tan, just a tan, you know what I mean? And to be honest, she kind of looked better at that point, because at first she's one of those, I'm not trying to be racist, you guys, again, I'm just saying, I like all types of shades of Asians, but she was one of those, like, pale Asians. Like, you see Asians that they're so pale, I'll almost not say that they're ghostly white, but I'm saying they are so pale that they are seemingly, they're just very pale. You know what I mean? Like, you have darker Asians, you have Asians that are more tan. This Asian at first, when I saw her at the bar, was very, very pale. Like, she had dark hair, like almost like jet black, but her skin was really, 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 really pale. And nothing was unattractive about it. It's just that when she got tanner, she was more attractive. That's how I'll put it. It was more attractive. You know what I mean? When I saw it, she was tanner, and she still had the jet black hair. She's basically nude at this point, and I realized that, like, I didn't even get time to take my clothes off, but they were off. But this is stupid, you guys. This is so stupid, but for some reason, I had on the thickest, clunkiest white sneakers. Like, I'm like, where are these sneakers come from? I'm like, I'm about to get into the shower, and literally, I had a conflict of, like, even though I know it's a lucid dream, it's so alien for me to step into a shower with water running with shoes on like that I just didn't almost want to bring myself to walk into a shower with shoes on. So I felt like that, and I'm going to go off on a tangent a little bit, you guys, and I apologize, but I'm going to explain something to you. Lucid dreams take a certain amount of energy from your psyche. So we know there's a law of energy to where if you think too hard or concentrate too much on one thing, you may distort or ruin altogether what your actual purpose, intention, and whatever it is, because you're putting too much, because it takes energy for these thoughts to be in images and in reality-like things to be manifested. That's something I have to explain to you. So if you focus too much on the shoe thing, what's going to happen is the girl that you're trying to bang, I'm sorry, I can't think of a better word to say it, you guys. I'm trying to be nice with this, but like I was just saying, the girl that's in front of you that you're trying to bang may just all well disappear because you're focused too much on the shoe thing. So you have to choose your energy wisely. So you have to use it wisely. You have to use focus, and you have to make sure that you are focused even to the point of that you could be so focused on a person, place, or things that, like, everything around you kind of fades away and disappears because your energy is now hyper-focused on one thing. That was a tangent, but I just want to put that out there. And those of you who don't know how to lucid dream, or you don't and know about this, that's how that works sometimes. Okay, so with that being said, at this point, the shoes, I'm just going to step in the shower with these sneakers on because I'm not going to take the energy to bend over and untie shoes and take them off, because, like I said, lucid dreams are not like reality. They are not so concrete to that you can just do that, and then when you look up again, she's still going to be there, or things are going to still be the same, or no. You have to, it's like subconsciously you're holding up all of this by your own will. Everything, the ground beneath you, the people around you, the walls, the lights, everything. You may not realize it, but your energy is holding all of that together, right? So if you get too distracted, it may fall apart to your own detriment, and now you're like, I blew it. You could, now it's basically like you reset the video game. You blew it. You turned it off. You messed it up. It crashed. You messed it all up. So you have to be careful and pick wisely certain things you choose to give too much attention to. So I decided that I'm not taking these shoes off. I'm going up in the shower with this chick, and I'm busting this chick out with the sneakers on. I don't even care. I'm like, all the other clothes are off. I'm ready to do this. I'm about to do this right now. I'm not playing any games. This girl is too attractive. I'm about to do this. I'm going to make sure this doesn't fall apart. Bro, it all fell apart. And I'm explaining how it fell apart. So, I get in the shower with this chick. I notice that she's getting even darker, and then she went from being this Asian chick to being this black chick, but a distinct, I don't know how to even describe this, but I'll say she's like basically I'm
not trying to be an a-hole, but she's basically everything that I'm just like not attracted to at this point. You know what I mean? Like, she's basically a particular type of chick that, like, it just doesn't, I'm just not attracted to. You know what I mean? Like, it just really isn't, it's really not something that I am attracted to, nor is it something that I would necessarily find myself ever really being attracted to. But I'll be honest, you guys, even at this point, I was still gonna smash at this point, because I was like, I'm already in the shower, I'm already expecting this now, and at this point, I'll take a step down. You know what I mean? I'll take a few steps down, because I'm like, I'm ready to go at this point. I'm not playing around. This is going down. This is what it is. So I noticed that she started to turn into like a sort of petite, baby-faced, very African, I don't even know how to describe her hair. And someone's gonna say, this is racist. Bro, it's not racist. I'm just saying what I saw in my dream. Don't come at me about this. Her hair was like, the only way I could describe it, you guys, and I'm not trying, this sounds racist, but I have to describe it of how I saw it, because this is what I saw. This is wacky. At this point, this shit, I guess I'll curse because whatever. I wanted this to be kid friendly, but it can't be at this point. This is too descriptive anyway. It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate, honestly. So I have to just let it go. This was like some coon shit, you guys. This was like some shit you seen off of the old racist ass cartoons where they would depict black people as having these fucking these retarded ass hairdos that look like some shit out of a slave flick. Like, I mean, this chick's hair was like, the way she had it done up was not like she just had it like natural out, like in an afro or something, or just like very just out, but just even if it was long, you know, just natural and just out like it should be. No, she had it in some fucking like Sambo coon slave pickaninny, whatever you want to fucking call it. It was I'll put it like this, the hair was more racist than any fucking thing at this point. I'm like, why is her hair like this? She had it in some, I don't know how to describe it. It was like literally some crazy shit where some of it was poking out, some of it was in a half undone braid looking thing, some of the shit had a little knot on it, not even a dread, it was just this like, only way I could describe it was like some really messed up crap that you see in a lot of these racist old cartoons that were basically made to make fun of black people. I'm not going to go any further because it's just going to sound even worse. That's the way I can describe how it looked. But I'll tell you honestly, at this point, she still had, like, I'll put it like this, she was a lot smaller at this point, but her body, at least ratios were decent, you know what I mean? So, I was gonna still go through with this at this point. Like I said, she totally was not my type at this point, but I was like, you know what, I'm still going through with this. She still seemed enthused to go through this thing, even though she's literally morphing into a complete different person now at this point. You know what I mean? And this is where it really starts to go downhill, you guys, is when I said, okay, so she's not, like, she's ready, but you know how this works, you guys. She's not, like, ready yet. So this girl, I'm not trying to be descriptive, but let's just say this girl is trying to wet herself more. So, you know, she's basically, she's warming herself up for this more. And I'm just sitting there kind of just, like, waiting, like, thinking, like, when is she going to be, like, ready to do this? Like, come on, now, like, what's going on here? So this seems fishy already. But okay, this is where it goes when I say downhill. Bro, this shit went so downhill that it became disgusting at this point. It went very downhill. So this girl, all of a sudden, I look to her side. Like, I look at the side of her hips and the side of her waist, from like at least one of her lower ribs down to start to be like where her hip is, and she has these protrusions. Now, I don't know what, the only way I could describe these protrusions was that they looked like goddamn fingers or tentacles that were wiggling in, what's the word, thrashing? I don't know what to call it. Thrashing, wiggling, writhing, whatever you want, like a snake or something. I mean, these fucking things, they weren't that long either. They were really only the size of like fingers, but they were whipping. They were like, and they looked gross. They looked fucking gross. That's what I have to say. The fucking things looked fucking disgusting. I don't know what they were, but they looked gross, okay? And then she also had these weird warts that were starting to form on different parts of her body. And I was like, okay, guys. I was like, I said, I'm starting to question whether I want to do this at this point. Like, I'm questioning this shit. Not saying I wasn't thinking about maybe doing it still, but I'm questioning it because this shit's starting to get gross. Like, this is going from the realm of, like, she went from a hot chick. She went from the chick that, if it was reality, I would definitely go talk to her. Then she goes from the type of chick to where she's not, like, hideous or anything, but she's just not my type. You know what I mean? Then she went from not being my type to being, like, grotesque things are starting to form on this girl right now. Now I'm starting to question this whole thing, and I'm thinking, like, I may not want to do this at this point. I may just fucking leave, because this is getting grosser by the second, and I'm losing my interest in this altogether, because it is starting to go. It's starting to go into the realm of not scary, but the realm of, like, disgusting. So I'm like, this is starting to turn me off right at this point. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, it's starting to be a turn off. But I'm just gonna be honest, you guys, I was still horny at this point. I was still turned on because, like, you know, she still was attractive enough for me to still go through with it. Like I said, she wasn't my type, but she wasn't, like, hideous. She wasn't really ugly either. You know, one of those girls to where they're not really, it's like they're not ugly, but they're not attractive enough that you would pursue them. That's the way I'll put it, like that. They're not attractive enough to where you would actually literally walk across the street and say, like, yeah, hey, what's your name? My name's Steve. You know, so and make small talk, and she's not that attractive. So you pretty much just keep walking like you do in any other instance. So at this point, I'm really questioning going through with this. And the thing was, she's still doing things to herself. Still, it's like she's trying to get herself warmed up. And I'm thinking, like, well, gosh, how long is this gonna take you? You know what I mean? And then she jumps out the shower, and I'm like, okay, so I guess we're not doing this in the shower. I was like, we're gonna do this on the floor now, or something. You know what I mean? Or near the sink or something. I'm thinking, like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Just hurry this up already. So she friggin' climbs out the shower, goes across to the sink, and I noticed these warts on her back, and there's not a lot of them, but there were some, and they look disgusting. You know what I mean? Not, like, super gross, but disgusting enough to where I'm thinking, like, Jesus, like, this is just really starting to, like, this is looking ever more unappetizing, you guys. So she gets out the shower, she goes to the sink, and I don't even know what she really was trying to do, except I'm not going to be that graphic on YouTube, because I'm not a total pig. I don't want to but you guys are women. You guys all know when you're ready to get with a dude, and women, if a woman's watching, you know, or you guys like myself that have been with women, and I haven't been with a lot. I'm not a man whore like most people are. I've been with a few women, but the thing is, we all know, we've all watched a woman sit there and, you know what I'm saying? We all watched a woman sit there and basically prime herself up for, like, what's about to go down. You know what I mean? Because let's just say right away, she's not ready for you to just go in yet, so she, like, you know, we all, yeah, duh, you know what I mean? Duh, everyone's been there and done that. We've all done this song and dance many times, but, you know, so with that, like, what I'm saying is, I can count on my hand how many people I've slept with. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those guys that can just say, oh yeah, no, I never was that guy. So no, but so you all get the picture, right? So she's over there getting herself ready, and this is where it's just going downhill, you guys. So I'm also going to be honest. I noticed when I looked, I saw what was going on there, and let's just say she did not have a very pretty hoo-ha, let's just call it. It wasn't that pretty, man. it mostly its coloration was what I thought was just strange, because I was like, now I know she's black, but let's just say things were black in a very unnatural way, and then things were also super light in a very unnatural way, and the combination of it just didn't look flattering. And it also, I'm just gonna be honest, it didn't even look human. I'll just put it like that to you guys. Which, the shit that she had going on did not fucking look human at all. At that point, to me. It looked human enough that it looked like a human whole. Like, it looked human enough in a way, but something looked to me off that shit did not look like a human. It looked like some type of monster, okay? And I'm not saying monster is like, you know, teeth and friggin' scales, and no, but something, it just did not look from what I'm used to seeing. It didn't look human. It looked like something else. I don't know what to call it, but it just looked otherworldly. Like, it looked like, that is a box that's coming from an alien or something. That's how I could put it. Like, I was like, this chick's box, that is not a human's. Like, that's an animal or something. That's not a human's thing. It's not supposed to look like that. You know what I mean? But even still, at this point, you guys, admittedly, because I'll admit, I can be a dog. At this point, I was still gonna go through with it. I was still gonna go through with it at this point. But then, the thing where it really got weird was all of a sudden, I see a reflection in the mirror, and I realize that reflection is not mine. So then I turn to, like, sort of like the outer edge of the room, and I see this random man, this black man, and the weirdest thing was he had the face on him, basically, of someone that I knew. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, like, nah, bro. I was like, nah, this ain't you, man. I was like, nah. I was like, hell nah. I was like, now this person, I'm not gonna say this person's name, but this is one of my best friend's friends, right? Or used to be his friend, and we all know this guy. So we all, you know how people know each other. We all know this guy, right? And this guy has a distinct feature on his face that most people don't have. So I knew it was him because of that super hyper. I was like, bro. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, don't you see what I'm about to do? And then in my mind, I said, wait a second. I was like, okay. You know, like I said, you know how in dreams you instantly get a thought of what's going on without people speaking of what's going on? I instantly knew that it was going to be a tag team threesome on this girl. I instantly knew that, like, the plan was that we were going to take turns. Like, it was like, you know, we were going to take turns. Like, it was like someone was going to jump in, somebody was going to get on this girl, and then someone was going to rest and sit back, and then they were going to, you know, if they were ready again, they were going to get on this girl. And it was probably, that was all it was going to be. Like, that was going to be a quick action, tag team, boom, bang, double team, and then we were just going to all split off after that, right? So, that was what I thought, you know what I mean? But it never happened, you guys. I'm just going to say, like, it never happened for two reasons. And this is where it got, like, freaky. Like, freaky to where I'm not down with it. I was like, I'm not into this. This is gay. I was like, this shit is gay as hell. The chick grabs, I don't know where she got this shit out of, but this is just honestly what the dream was. And like I said, I told you this shit was gonna go south, and it went south, like fast, progressively, but it went south. This girl grabs what looked to me like a fucking purple dildo with some other colored attachment to it, and then there was a dildo on it, and it seemed like it was an electronic, some type of device. And she gestured to me for some reason, like I'm just gonna be honest, you guys, because this is the rant. This chick gestured to me like she was about to want, for some reason, to put that shit in my ass. And I was like, nah, bro. I was like, nah, nope. I was like, I'm not about that. That's not what I'm into. That's not what I came here to do. To each his own, but that's not what I'm doing. Just no. That's a hard no, you guys. I was like, nah. I was like, are you ready? Are you ready, or are you not ready for me to stick this in now? Like, I'm ready to do this. I don't really, at this point, I'm questioning this. Dude in the side, dude to the left of me, wait your turn. you know what I mean? Or move around to this chick's mouth or something, because I'm ready to do this. When are you ready? You know what I'm saying? So I'm basically just waiting for her all this time, like thinking like, are you ready yet for, like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? What's the hold up? At this point, when she gestured to use this thing, I was like, nah. And she seemed intent for some reason on wanting me to have her do this, and I was just like, just no. I was like, screw it. I was like, bro, dude over here, whose name I'm not going to mention, because you're literally walking around with my best friend's face on your face. So, dude over here, I'm thinking, you go first now, because she's taking too long. Just you go first. You know what I mean? I don't want nothing to do with this purple dildo thing that she just pulled out of wherever the hell she pulled it out of, materialized. And bro, this dude for some reason didn't want to go in first. Now, I don't know if this guy's intention. This is all wrong. This is what I mean by I just left the whole situation where it was. This dude, either he wanted me to go in first, and I got the notion that he wanted to try to go behind me and do something, whether it was with this tool or, you know, and I was like, nah. I said, F no. I said, all of this shit. I said, you know what, at this point, I said, fuck it. I said, you fuck both of you guys. I was like, this shit is just a whole ass no. I was like, this is just a no. It started out like a possibility of something, like, okay, maybe we'll just tag team this chick. Whatever. Now I lost complete all interest in this whole situation altogether. The bitch has warts on her back. The bitch has a pussy that looks like a black and white. When I say black and white, I mean like the inside of it was chalk white. The outside of it was literally, and I don't mean white from anything, I mean it's just the coloration was white on the inside and like pitch black on the outside, and looked like it literally was made out of it was literally made out of, looked like it was made out of a tire, like rubber tire or something. So I'm thinking like, bitch, you're not human already. You're already not human. You got short tentacles on the side of you, coming out the side of your body. You have warts on your back. You have warts on your hands. You have discoloration in very private places that doesn't make real sense. Like, and it's not a normal, it's like a alien coloration. And your hair it's crazy. Like, your hair is looking crazy. You're already not my type. You're bent over trying to get yourself ready for this thing, but then you pull out a freaking alien dildo, and this guy wants to do some gay shit. You want to do some gay shit? I was like, alright, you guys can both have each other. I was like, so I left. At this point, I just left, you guys. I left the bathroom. This is going on for a long time, but this is the whole dream. I'm explaining it all. I'm just going to explain all of it. So I leave the bathroom at this point because I am done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that shit was disgusting. Like, this shit went all over the place. It would have been okay if she just had stayed the hot Asian chick from the bar, and we just would have had to sex it out in the shower, and it just would have been all good. That's all I wanted. That is all I simply wanted. Like, I don't know where all this crazy shit started to come out, but that shit was just like, it went south. It's not a nightmare, but I'm saying it went south. Like, it started to turn into an unwanted situation. So I left, and I crawl out the bathroom. For some reason, I didn't have to put my clothes back on. The clothes pretty much had dissipated and disappeared. They weren't even there anymore. To tell you the truth, when I left the bathroom, it seemed like that entire section of wherever that part of the building was warped. I was more concentrated now at this point of what appeared to be a spiraling floor that led upward and upward and upward, and there were seats in that place. Now, I don't know why these seats were seats that literally seemed to, like, if they were round buttons stuck to the ground that would rise up and up and up and up and up, but they were. And one of them, I distinctly remember it had like a yellowish color to it instead of more of like a whitish or other color. And for some reason, I jumped on these seats and I realized, okay, well, it's a lucid dream, so I'm not going to fall and hurt myself. So I just started sprinting around in a circle on the seats. Like, and every time there was a big gap in the seat, I would simply just jump from one to the other, jumping the gap, you know what I mean? And this was done on all fours. A couple times I jumped off the seat and ran along the wall in a circle, and then jumped off again on two seats, you know, and just, like, basically I'm just playing at this point, you know, because in lucid dream, when you realize that you can't be harmed, you will just do things that normally, because you couldn't do them and there's no harm, you just will play around until you get bored. So I did that for maybe not even a minute, you know, just a couple circles around the circle, and I decided that, like, I was gonna sit on a seat to make it go upward, you know, and it went so upward that I'll admit there was some element of fear, because I'm thinking, like, well, how high is this thing gonna go, you know? So I basically jumped off the seat and just kind of, like, glided down towards the ground, and at this point in time, I basically was just running around on the ground, and standing up occasionally because there were crowds of people to where I didn't want to, like, run through them or bump them, so I had to stand up to make my profile, you know, because your shoulders, sometimes you have to turn sideways to go through two people, because if you run head first, you're going to bash into them head first, literally, and your shoulders are also going to bash into them, so you have to stand up and turn sideways, you know what I mean? Which I did many times. So I noticed, though, that there were these groups of people, and they were saying things, and I really distinctly remember someone saying something along the lines of, like, oh, well, you know, you should stay away from him or whatever, right? So I basically chose that I would go with the people who were not, like, pushing me outside of their group, right? So inevitably, I landed in one room where, for some weird reason, all these people in here were dressed up in either, like, a Halloween getup, they were either dressed like a black metal goth type of aesthetic, I guess you could call it, and they were all watching a movie. For some reason, they had rows of seats, and they were all watching a movie. Now, I don't know if this movie was just a, lecture type of thing, or if it was more or less a movie. I got the more impression that it was actually just like movies that they were watching, and it was kind of just for their entertainment or whatever. And so I looked at them, I looked at the windows, I don't know why my attention was called to the windows. I realized that it was very dark outside of this place, and it looked like the windows maybe led to nothing. Like, when I say nothing, I mean that there was nothing but just black outside, like no trees, no stars, no clouds, just nothing. You know, for some reason, I got really bored with these, because I was saying, like, these people all look almost the same, not like twins, but they all look very similar. Like I said, they got this, like, black metal, white face, dark makeup, dark hair, long hair, or if it's blonde hair, and some were male, some were female, and I'm thinking, like, they all look so uniform that this is boring. I was like, this kind of seems boring. No one's saying anything. I just get the impression that they are not running. They're basically comfortable with me being there, so I'm pretty much going to hover there. But I decided to leave. That was my decision. I said, this is kind of boring. I'm going to leave. You know what I mean? So I go towards what I only can describe as I felt like it was the back of a theater. You know, like, so I felt like it was doors to leave. So I start gliding my way over, but then I noticed this girl, and she wasn't, the thing that was weird about it was, to me, nothing was anything extra attractive about her. She just had kind of like a basic, like, her face just was basic, you know what I mean? Like, I would say, nothing, like, I'll put it like this. She didn't have anything by, like, what we call Western beauty standards. Like, she did not have, like, a, how do I say this? Very prominent hollow cheeks. She did not have, like, a jawline that was, like, model-esque, you know what I mean? She did not have, like, all those features in a girl that would stand out to me like I'm just like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, you're looking at this chick and you're just like, wow, you know what I mean? She didn't have that type of face. She didn't have a body that's just like curvy and very thick and very like, you know, the classically Kim Kardashian-esque. Like, she did not have that look, you know, along with the model-esque face with the hollow cheeks and the jawline and all that. She didn't have that look, you know what I mean? That classic, overwhelmingly attractive look that a lot of women have. She didn't have any of that. Like, she basically was just very plain, you know what I mean? Like, she seemed to have like a very round, not like a extra chubby face, but it was just very, it was nothing that was very like chiseled to any way about it. Nothing had that look to it where it's just like extra it was just basically a very round, very plain Jane look. And I don't know why, but I think she had sunglasses on. That's another thing. I couldn't really see her eyes. It looked like she had sunglasses of some sort on. So I couldn't see her eyes. Her hair to me looked like she may have had a hood on or something, so I really didn't even see what her hair looked like. All I know is she seemed like tall, and I say tall because she seemed to be at the same level of eye level standing up that I was. So I'm 6'2", so she had to be tall. She had a body shape where she was just very thin, not like not like starving thin, but just very thin and very flat. That's the way I could describe it. She didn't have big breasts. Her breasts were like very small. She didn't really have wide hips. She more or less, they were more squarish. Like, so basically nothing about her except her behavior was attractive to me. That's how I'll put it. Like, nothing about her, not like ugly, like not off-putting, but just nothing would draw me. Like the type of chick, where I say this again, the type of chick that if you see her on the street, you are not going to go out of your way to approach this girl. She's just too plain. There's nothing, it's not sexy. It's just very plain. Like, she's the type of girl that you would have as like a friend, but you would not really ever try to push the issue to try to get to sleep with this girl, because she just doesn't do it. She just doesn't have a sexiness to her. She doesn't have that like curvy, thick, sexy. She just does not have that going on, you know, or that sort of like, you know, you see these girls in the gym that are very, very, like, what's a girl? I'll describe her. She's like muscular but curvy at the same time, and very, Ali, I think her name is Ali Sordo, I think her name is, if I'm not butchering it, but that model chick like that, right? Chicks like that, those type of chicks. She does not have that look at all, by any means have that type of look. She's just flat, flat, plain, just like I said, she's the type of chick that would probably be a friend of yours, but like, you know, even if she pushed the issue, probably, like, you may not even want to sleep with this girl, because she just doesn't, it just doesn't really, you're not really attracted to her that much like that. Like, you're attracted, like, you like her personality, but you're not, you know what I'm saying? You get the point, you guys. And not saying that, like, maybe there may be a time where, like, if she keeps on pushing it, like, she keeps pushing the issue, if you like her enough, and you could find enough attractive about her, maybe, you know, you'll sleep with her. You know what I mean? That's how I describe her. That's the way I can describe it. But, for whatever reason, this girl was literally, I could, I didn't see her mouth move, but I could hear it, like, mentally. She's like, oh, I kind of like this guy. So because she said that, I decided that I would at least, like, I would sit with her. I wouldn't leave, and I would at least sit with her and, like, try to have a conversation or something, you know what I mean? Because inherently, I sensed her energy. That was the thing I could describe, is like, her, if I could describe what her, because in dreams you sense energy. Just like in real life, you can sense people's energy sometimes. Like, literally, you can sense a person's type of energy towards you, and you gather some of their intention. And it's really weird, but it's a thing. It's like, you don't have to say anything to them. You sense their intention by their energy. And sometimes their intention could be, they're not even really noticing you. They're not paying you any attention. Sometimes that intention can be bad. It's horrible sometimes. Sometimes it can be absolutely disgusting. Sometimes their intention could be good. From her, I got nothing but good intention. So to me, the thing I'm trying to explain is, like, I don't know what I would have wanted from her intentions or what I would have wanted from her or about her, but I could sense that it was things that I wanted. So because of that, the weird thing was I didn't take her hand because I was actually in the process of leaving. She literally had to grab my hand not forcibly, but she grabbed my hand and she started to move in the opposite direction, like towards where the crowd was sitting in the seats. So because I wasn't resistant, because like I said, I already read her intention, I wasn't going to resist her at all. So I basically went with her and sat down. So when I started to, walk in the same, not really walk, because we were just gliding. At that point, I'll be honest, there was no walk. No one's legs were moving. We were just like gliding. I don't even think I felt my feet on the ground. I think I was a little bit above possibly the ground because it felt like we were just floating. We were just literally holding each other's hand, floating towards a direction. So at that point, that is where I started to wake up. At that point, that's where the whole thing started to dissipate, fall apart, whatever, and I started to wake up. So, all that being said, this is just a document of a lucid dream. Now, over the course of my lifetime, I've had countless lucid dreams. Because generally when I go to sleep and I wake up, sometimes I don't remember my dreams. Generally, I usually always do. On a given day, I can wake up and remember and recall my entirety, at least what I do remember of that dream. Because sometimes there are parts that maybe I forgot because I went into different stages of sleep or whatever. Generally, if I have a lucid dream, I can remember it, and I just don't document it. So, someone had told me, they're like, what you should do? You should document them. Because, like, not all of them, but just document them. Because it's another form of, like, storytelling that you could put on your channel. So that's exactly what I'm doing, you guys. I don't ever do this like this. So officially of documenting a dream, this is the official how do you say it? Documentation of this? If that's the word, I don't know, but this is the first dream I'm going to document. Now this has gone on way too long. I'm kind of pissed off because this is going to have to be put in like 3 episodes probably because it's going on too long. So someone had suggested I write this down. I am not a writer by any means. I am not a typer by any means. I have to speak this orally. I don't have the skills to write this down. This is too much paper. I'm not structured enough to write all this down, you guys. Someone else would have to do that, so I figure the easiest way is just through oral telling, recorded. Sound recorded. That's all I know. So there it is, you guys. I know it was long-winded. I hope you stayed to the end of the dream, that you stayed watching to the end. This will probably be in 3 parts, most likely, or 2 parts. Could be 1, but I feel like that's retarded. That's retarded for it's going along. But that's what it is, you guys. That's my best description of this lucid dream. Was it, like, am I ashamed that I even saw some of these disturbing, weird-ass things? Of course I am, because this is not something you want to just tell someone, because it's just fucking weird. You know what I mean? All of it was weird. But, it is, like I said, lucid dreams are what they are. They're very strange. But they are, there you go. This is your host, Steve from the back. I plan to do more rants like this that are documenting lucid dreams. And if I have other type of strange experiences, I may just document those too, which other people have done. But this is Steve's Art and Fun channel. This is your host, Steve from the back. I would appreciate it if you like, comment, and sub. If that's what you want to do, really. And I appreciate if you hit the bell. And until next time, have a good one, you guys.